Well, hello and welcome. Everybody having a great fifth day? Yeah, so you made it to the end, and Jeremy and I are very happy to have you here and share a little bit about what we're doing in the context of teamwork with SharePoint, OneDrive, and Microsoft Teams. And I think at the booth, I was there a few times, and the most common questions I got were around Microsoft Teams. And really, the focus of this session is going to answer both visually and audibly and magnificently two big FAQs that we get, not just here at the show, but all the time. One is, where do I put my files? And the other is it Teams versus team sites? And we hope to bust those myths and really show you visually in demo and also help you in terms of just roading away some of that confusion. The other first question before we get into who we are, do we have any hashtag SPSoc fans? So if you haven't gotten an SP SharePoint pair of socks, first giveaways are just right away. There's one here on this monitor in front, and then there's another one here on the front left. If you want it, grab it. Okay, so that wasn't too hard, which means the rest of the session is going to be uphill. No. So we're really happy to have you here. We know it's been a great conference. I know from my perspective and a lot of feedback, I think that it sounds like it's been a great conference for everybody else. So we're going to end it in a big fashion. This is a great session. I think that Jeremy has put together a lot of demos, a lot of great slides, we hope, for clarity. And of course, your questions and feedback we'll take a couple times through, and then certainly towards the end. Last thing, just so everybody knows, there are some fun giveaways. We've got a IntroZone belt, a SharePoint belt, a nice SharePoint bag, which is a Timbuktu, and then one special little prize. It's the smallest one here on stage that's at my left foot right now. That adds a little bit of legacy cred if you like SharePoint history. So I'm Mark Cashman, the one rambling on here. On the marketing side, and I focus a lot of what we do with Microsoft Teams and SharePoint from the SharePoint side. And I also focus on what we do with the intranets in the cloud based on SharePoint. And this is Jeremy.
My name's Jeremy Masner. I'm the Group Program Manager for SharePoint Team Collaboration. So I run product for everything about how people work better together using SharePoint and Microsoft Teams and Office 365 groups.
And if you notice, he's wearing a purple shirt.
I am. We could not, no one from Teams is joining us today, so I'm wearing a purple shirt in their honor.
So to balance that out, I've got my own socks on. So I'm blue, SharePoint, Jeremy's Teams, purple.
Better together.
All right, very much. So just a little context setting, and then we'll jump right into demos, and you'll see lots of stuff come to life. But just, you've probably seen this slide just to orient yourself where we are and what we're talking about primarily in this session. In the context of Microsoft 365, one of the big investments you're making is Office 365. Where we're landing here today is within Office 365 to talk about a couple of apps and how they work together in terms of how they're built for teamwork, and teams work together across a lot of different project types, life cycles of projects and files, lots of different types of content, not just files. And we'll try to put that all into context. But know, if your investment is at the Microsoft 365 level, this is all covered. Everything you see demoed comes with it. If your investment has been to date at the Office 365 level, you're also covered. It comes with that investment. So at any different level, primarily we're just focusing on teamwork and what people do in the inner loop. So talk about the inner loop just to orient around your different loops. Hopefully this is resonating. We get a little bit of different feedback on this particular messaging, but we think it's helpful just to understand that it's not one or the other, and it's not just one person defined as only in one or the other, but it's really the life cycle of how you work through your day across multiple projects, multiple different types of teams, internally and externally. The inner loop being a lot of what we're going to show you today in terms of leveraging Microsoft Teams as the team for hub work, as the hub for teamwork. Hub work is good. And then, of course, how SharePoint supports that from when people are working on content. SharePoint is the content service to Microsoft Teams. In addition to that, it's also what serves the outer loop, which is where we do a lot of our communication sites, broader broadcasting of information, lots of different content types there, pages, web parts. So the two, of course, if you put yourself in the middle, leveraging SharePoint, other technologies like Stream for a very important video content type. And then all the while, certainly email is there to help you throughout that life cycle or when you're doing more targeted communications. So if you feel like you live in the inner loop or the outer loop, or you've got loops on both ears, if you're wearing any earrings today, we really, again, focusing a little bit more on the inner loop, but that context of how SharePoint is powering all these experiences is another big part of what we want to hit home. So, part one?
Yeah, and with all that said, we show that slide. I'll take the clicker. We try to talk about it a lot, and even still, people come back and say, I don't understand, when should I use OneDrive or SharePoint, or when should I use Teams or SharePoint? So let's just take those things head on and make sure we get as much clarity as possible. Should you use OneDrive or SharePoint? Yes. Yes, you should. You should use OneDrive and SharePoint. They work together. We've designed them to be a system that works seamlessly between personal work and teamwork. So let's dig in. I'm stealing some slides here from Eugene Lin, who gave a session earlier this week. If you want the real depth drill down on this particular messaging and content, you can go catch up on his presentation. So the real question we want people to ask is not, should I use OneDrive or SharePoint? But is the file I'm working on a personal file or a team file, a shared file that belongs to part of a team collaboration? And when you frame it that way, it's a much easier conversation. And the thing we would say to people is, every person in the organization has a place to put their personal files. That's their OneDrive. And every team in the organization has a place to put their files. And that's a shared library, which happens to be hosted by SharePoint under the covers. And so whatever kind of teamwork you're doing, whether you're working with your shared library through SharePoint, or whether you happen to be working through your shared library with Microsoft Teams in a channel and in a chat, OneDrive is the single app that gives you access to all of those files. So I really want you to think of OneDrive not as a place where you have to think about, should I go to this place or that place for my files? OneDrive is the app that gives you access and management and collaboration and sharing of all of your files, personal and shared, no matter where they are. So let's kind of make that come alive with some demo. And hopefully that will make it even more clear. Okay, so I want to start by talking about personal files. Oops.
No,
sorry,
you're good.
Are we up?
You're good.
Okay, thanks. So let's go ahead and create a personal file. Why would you create a personal file? Well, one reason is that you know ahead of time that it's a file that belongs to you and not to your team. So maybe it's some planning that you're doing for yourself, some thoughts you have about some strategy you want to kind of keep and work in your own private place for a little bit. That's a very deliberate choice where you would say, I really want this file to be private by default, and I'm going to share it out later. But it also might be the case that you're just starting in our apps, and we actually guide you towards the right place. So I'm here from office.com. I go to Word. I'm going to click on New Blank Document. But what you'll see over here is that we're saying very clearly that new documents are going to be saved to my OneDrive, because there's not really another choice. If I'm just starting from here and clicking New, we can't predict which team this file might be a part of. So we're going to put it in your OneDrive. You'll be able to access it and take action from there. So I'm going to go ahead and dig in here and create this file. Put in some very valuable text. We'll put in a nice title so that we can find it later. Okay, so now I've got that file. It's automatically saved to my OneDrive. It's visible only to me. It's in my personal files. Now, over time, some files you really want to keep entirely private. Most files, I think you probably want to have some conversation with other people and work with them in other ways. So let's look at different ways that you can have a file that's in your personal space, still connect out with other people. So I'm going to open up the exact same file over here in the desktop version of Word. Now I'm going to browse over to my OneDrive and find Ignite 2018 demo, and we'll open it up there. So one way, in order I can start working with this file with other people, is just get a link and share it out to them. So we've got this awesome feature that's built in here, which is that the OneDrive sharing capabilities are going to be available in every app that you use for working with files. So I'm here in Word on the desktop client, but when I want to share, I've got all the same link settings that I have in OneDrive. Again, if you're not familiar with what all these link settings do, the session from Eugene Lin is going to be a great way to get caught up. So I can either copy a link here myself, I can actually go ahead and invite specific people and collaborate in with that file. But the file stays in my OneDrive, and I'm just sort of inviting people in to access it.
So a big important thing there is you saw it on the web, you see it in the desktop client. It's also the same experience in the Windows desktop. And now moving into the Mac desktop, we're getting parity there with files on demand.
Mobile applications.
And the mobile application. So when you think, I want to share something, it shouldn't be contextually or visually different. It is the same control, it's the same access to be able to accomplish what you're trying to do.
Yeah, and you'll see in a minute another place where we have this dialogue now, which is pretty cool. Okay, so that's keeping it in my OneDrive and sharing it out to people. There is another choice, which is at some point in the life cycle of this document, you may say, now it really is ready for my team. And maybe it was something I was working on, just to get started. I wanted to work in private, and now I want to share it out, move it into a team space so that everyone in the team can get to it. I can take advantage of all the features around an Office 365 team. So there's a couple ways to do that. One is you can move the file. You can do that from all of your OneDrive apps. Of course, you can do that directly from Word here also. So we'll have a move functionality built in, so you can find your destination and move the file. That'll be coming to more and more of the Office endpoints. So that's pretty cool. We can also share by copying. So sometimes people like having their original sort of copy of the original draft of the document stored for themselves. They want to keep it, maybe keep working on it, but they want to make a copy available to a team. So we have that available as well. I'm going to show you that in Teams. So I'm going to go here and start a new conversation, and I'm just going to go and attach a document from my OneDrive. So again, OneDrive, all the files I care about, they're always here. Let me go find this one that I was working on. And you can actually see Teams is going to tell me, hey, we're going to upload a copy. In this particular case, you're moving from a personal context into a shared context. And while there is move support in other places in Teams, in this particular case, we're being very explicit that we're creating a copy. So I'll go ahead and do that. It's uploading there. You can have a very rich conversation. Ready for everyone.
Hello, other world?
Read and comment. Yeah, sure. Hello, more worlds. And then one of the really cool things is we're bringing that exact same sharing experience directly here into Teams. And so you're going to see almost, actually I'll say, the same framework for how to pick how you want this thing to be visible. But because we're in Teams, we extend slightly here with this one. So this is a case, whoop, I can't click when I'm zoomed in. If I use this default setting, I've created a copy in the team shared library, but I'm saying anyone who's part of that team can take that same link and forward it on, and people outside the team can participate in it. The other choice here that we have, since we're in the team context, is say, hey, I'm going to move it into the library, and I really only want the team to be commenting on it. I don't want someone in the team taking this link and sending it to someone outside of the team. So that's an option that shows up when you're in Teams there. So that's another option. You can, again, to recap, you can share from your OneDrive. You can move it into your you can share from your OneDrive. You can move it into your shared library, and then you can copy it from your OneDrive into a shared library and set the sharing parameters there to get it in the right way. So that's when you're creating personal files in your personal library. Why would you want to create files in a team library to start? There are lots of good reasons. Sometimes you know ahead of time that this is in fact going to be a shared file. You want to start right from the beginning in a place where everyone in the team can see it and can collaborate on it. You might think that you know ahead of time you're going to take advantage of some of the richer SharePoint features around metadata and flow and customization and organizing. I'll show you another use case, excuse me, which is around templates. So one of the cool things that we showed earlier at Ignite is the ability to much more easily customize the new menu in a shared library. So now, instead of seeing the list of standard sort of blank Office documents, I've got a template that's sitting right here. So this is a case where my team actually has a template that's already set for when I'm doing this kind of presentation. So I'll start in my shared library and just click New here, and I'll create that document using the template. I won't actually spend too much more time on that, but just so you can see that it's not a blank PowerPoint, it is actually a template that comes up here. So let's call this Ignite 2019 Vision, because it's never too early to start.
Has anybody booked their hotel already for next year? I'd get on it.
Yeah. But then, as I mentioned, the other reason, one of the other reasons you might take advantage of a document starting in a shared library is because of all the additional richness that we can get in context of a shared library. So I assume everyone is familiar with custom columns in SharePoint, including the cool new location column we showed off earlier. We've got column formatting so that you can highlight things here. I'll show one that I haven't shown before just because I like it so much. We'll go over here and add some formatting to the product line column so that it really stands out more clearly, and we can sort of pick some different colors and say if you're working on the market. Yeah, it's a good call. We don't have Teams purple here by default. You're welcome to edit the underlying JSON code to fix that up. But so those are all great reasons to have a file in a shared library from the start when you know you're going to want to take advantage of all those things. So you've got personal libraries, and you've got shared libraries. And then the thing we really wanted to land is that OneDrive is the application that lets you get to all of those no matter where you are. And so why don't we start the tour of OneDrive, the application, over on mobile?
Yeah. So if we switch over to mobile, I'm on an Android device here. Same experience would be if you're on iOS, bigger devices, iPads, Surface devices, anything in terms of how you're accessing your files. But from a mobile app perspective, I'm going to go into the OneDrive app. And I first land in my set of files. These are the ones that by default are owned by me, and I haven't shared some of these, so they maybe are only accessible by me. But I'll go into, not desktop, I'll go into documents. And you'll see I get some nice previews. There's lots of actions that I can take. If I wanted to share from here, remember we're sharing links, not the document, unless you want to. You can move files, you can save them locally if you need to, but now we also can take things offline. And I've already done that on a couple. When you know you've taken something offline, you actually get a little checkbox that's a green checkbox. You have to squint because it's a pretty tiny check even for me. But on that Contoso, that blue one in the upper right now, that one's already been taken offline. So these are all my files that I manage. I have access to get to my recent files, to get access to files that have been shared with me. Again, that view of all your files that you're working with. But in the context of what we're really trying to hit home here is, these are my files. Now when I switch over to the Sites tab, I'm going to go into the retail promotion site. Again, OneDrive is a focus on files, so I go right into the document library structures, all the folders. Here's this now document stored in a document library in a SharePoint team site in Office 365. Again, at the top left now, if you look at the little checkbox, I've taken offline another document. And so this is my way to access all my files, no matter where they are stored by me or my team, or how they've been shared with me. It's that window into all the files that I have access to. And just to hit home now, when I actually want to work with these in an offline fashion, these are those two files that are now available for offline. If I were to yank this cord, go into airplane mode, I could still see those files, prepare for what I'm doing, or if I'm in a no Wi-Fi zone, which maybe happened, if you remember, in SPC 14, I would still be able to be productive and on the go. So that's OneDrive giving me access to files, not just in OneDrive, same as the OneDrive sync client has given me the ability to sync across wherever my files are that I care about. That's really the power of OneDrive to give you that window into that access.
Hey, speaking of sync, let's look at again, just the same view. We want to just land this point. OneDrive is the app to get to all of your files. So here's the OneDrive app running on a PC, and you can see that I've got my personal files are all right here, and any shared libraries that I've chosen to sync show up right here. And again, you get the same files on demand, so these ones are available, but they might be removed if space is required. Over here, these guys are all still in the cloud. This one I was looking at before, so it came down there, and these files I've chosen to always keep on my device. So again, shared files will show up over here under this node with your company name, organization name. Personal files will show up right there under OneDrive. And again, we won't go into the whole demo here, but you can do the same sharing dialog shows up here. The same thing works on Mac. Super cool. And then the last place I'll show is OneDrive on the web. Again, we've got that same pattern. You can see the build we're using here tries to make even more clear how that distinction works, right? So you can see I've got my Contoso files up here, and then I have my shared libraries down here. So we're actually changing the language in the product to make this as clear as possible, and we'll keep tuning that to get it exactly right. So I've got all my personal files here, and then I've got all of my shared libraries that I work with here. One of the cool new things we're showing off at Ignite is the ability to bring the full richness of SharePoint into this view, even in OneDrive. So when I go into this document library, you will see all the same formatting, all the same columns that I have in that SharePoint document library and that I see through SharePoint right here in OneDrive. I saw one person applaud. Anybody else want to join in? This is pretty cool.
I think the other thing that you can clue into just visually is he is technically in a SharePoint online document library in a team site, but in the upper portion where you see next to the Office App Launcher or the waffle where it says OneDrive, so he's in OneDrive, the app, navigating to a SharePoint document library, but to Jeremy, he's just getting work done, he's working on a file, and he knew where to go or where he went to look for something, and instead of reloading a page and switching context and drilling down into documents, folders, whatever, it's just right there because he knows he's looking for a file.
Yeah, we'll see more about this cool embedded experience in a little bit. But let's close back out with a little bit of slideware, really making sure we have everyone sort of locked on the difference between personal files and shared and team files.
Yep. So before we do this, we are at the point in time where we want to do a giveaway. And this giveaway is not what it seems. It is a backpack. And it is a nice SharePoint backpack. Timbuktu is the company. It's a really deep, nice backpack you could actually take for maybe a 2-day trip or a 3-day trip. But we were hoping to give this away with somebody who's brave enough to come up to one of the mics and just give your either feedback or perspective on what you just heard in terms of, was it clear or how did you hear it? So if we have a brave soul, just step right up into the mic. I see him.
But there's only one backpack, so
yeah, only one
comment at this
only
portion.
One comment. We'll have questions at the end for sure. Let's hear your take. So on the mic, if we can make sure he's up. Or I'll come to you and we can be friends for a second. All right, so you'll have to lean in. I'll try to be as impersonal as I can. No, I'm just kidding. So what did you just hear?
So right now, the current struggle with our users is that they don't know where to go for their SharePoint files, and it's been a bit of a challenge to teach them where to go. But with this new feature that you guys are showing off, I think that my users would be really excited about seeing they could get to all their files in one spot.
Excellent. All right. Well, enjoy the backpack. And just so you know, if you want to make some friends, I went around the expo hall and I grabbed a bunch of swag from some of our other vendors. And so there's a bunch of stuff in there.
Yeah, and I think that's what I would say is we hear that confusion a lot. We are working on it. Our goal is to never have to give this presentation again. And the best way to do that is not to have a great slide. Yeah, so there's sort of two things going on. One is we hope these slides are useful for you. It always pains both of us when we go to a customer meeting and they show us their version of this slide and say, we had to explain to our users what SharePoint and OneDrive is. That's not a good feeling. An even better feeling is when the product just speaks for itself. And so again, I think you saw most clearly in that OneDrive web demo, we are going to make the product speak for itself and really be as clear as possible.
So we like to also promote what are one of the things that you can think about as far as where do I put my file from the get-go. The default, certainly in OneDrive, is it's your file. It's nobody else's file until you share it, which of course you can do from OneDrive, and there's lots of great scenarios of why you would do it from OneDrive versus SharePoint. But as you start working as a team, we want you to understand that as you start to work in team zones like a SharePoint document library or in Microsoft Teams, that by default that's shared from the start. There is equality to the whole team that they have access to those files. If it's not for a particular team or it's not for anybody yet, great use case for OneDrive. But when it is for everybody, or it should be from the get-go, start it in the right place. Put it into that document library. Quick question.
From my perspective, it would be good if you, unfortunately, need to repeat this session at some point, to what you started up with the different loops. If you keep repeating that, I think it will make more sense to the end users why you picked up the mobile and displayed that.
Okay.
I think that it will stick.
Okay, so the comment just for everybody was he wants us to stay loopy and keep loopy, meaning to go back to the inner loop, outer loop, and ground it in terms of when you're working with the inner loop, outer loop, and they may be just your personal loop, and maybe there is a version of that where people just understand when I'm working just by myself or with just a few people. But it's still, the loop isn't a certain size. It could be 500 people in a loop. It could be 5. It could be 1. But great feedback. Thank you. The other things you get as you start moving and working as a team, which by default you're probably doing a lot across multiple teams, is that anybody who joins the team will be right up and running with the access that they need to the files, to go back in time into the conversation, to reference other assets that have been brought into that team space, especially when you think of a tab in Teams. That's a tab for everybody on the team. Same with the files, same with the document library, same with the planner plan that maybe you brought in, or the Power BI asset. The other thing is you start layering in certainly the power of SharePoint as your content service, is you can apply policies and workflow and metadata. And that's not to say that you can't do it in other places, but the expectation, if I move from just one team to the next, one team might have some serious policies because they actually keep the records as an archive for the way that they get used, versus maybe a sales team that just has got some nice presentations and they're on the go and they're not going to be as locked down or as baked to process. But that you can do that, and of course do it differently across teams, is a lot of value. And the other big thing you get, of course, is a lot of things that we aren't talking about here are all the other apps that, again, from a democratized perspective, the members get access to. Planner Plan. If you're using Dynamics 365 in the context of a group, Power BI, there's so many rich applications that you can leverage from what you need, or you can be really focused and not do that. But when you get started, you get a really nice toolkit that comes with being a member of a team that's connected in this way.
Okay. So one more sort of visual, just to put it all in perspective. All across Office 365, we have a shared platform for all of your file-based content. And you can call that thing SharePoint, you can call that thing OneDrive, doesn't really matter to me. Know that it's the same place, and that whether you're working on your personal files or your shared files, you're going to get the same robust platform with security and compliance and policy. You're going to get the same analytics. You're going to get the same ability for intelligence and reasoning, whether that's some of the cool photo intelligence scenarios that we saw, whether it's one of my favorite intelligence scenarios, which is you're in a meeting presenting a document or a presentation, and when you go back to your office and open that presentation again, it says, hey, it looks like you presented this in a meeting an hour ago with Mark and Dan and Andy and Adam. Do you want to share the file with them to make sure they can see it? Super, super cool. It's all powered through that common platform where all of the files go. And then you can access the files from whatever way it makes the most sense to you. If what you want to do is really see that view of all your files, you want to manage them, you want to share them, you want to get a sense of what's going on, you want to control what's online or offline, OneDrive is clearly the best app for you. If you want to edit your document, Word or PowerPoint or Excel is probably the best app for you. We wouldn't say go somewhere else to edit. You go to the app where it makes sense. So we've got all these great tools, and they can help you work on your files no matter where they are, personal or shared. Now, in a shared context, there is more going on than just files. And in particular, in the SharePoint space, we've got lists, and we've got pages, and we've got news, and we've got composite apps, lots of cool stuff that gets built in there, which is what takes us to this view of the slide, which we've seen elsewhere in some of the other keynotes, which is sort of having SharePoint as that underlying content service that powers all that stuff, not just for files, but also, as I say, for lists, for pages, and for apps. So closing out, Morph, so cool. Do you use OneDrive or SharePoint? No, you use OneDrive and SharePoint. Woo! Come on, Build. Okay, so when someone says, where do I put my files? It's really easy. If it belongs to you and it's sort of private, you put it in the private space. You put it in your OneDrive. If it's going to belong to a team, you put it in the shared library where everyone's going to be able to get access to that team. And then when you want to use your files, there is no or. It's all and. You can use them in SharePoint, you can use them in OneDrive, you can use them in Word, you can use them in Teams. Whatever makes the most sense for you is where you should go to consume those files.
I think in that last context, too, the really nice work that the team has done is that consistent file experience. No matter when you share, when you sync, when you just view your files or create views on your files and start managing them, whether it's in OneDrive, whether it's through Outlook, whether it's through the SharePoint interface or Microsoft Teams, you actually have the same experience, or more and more, closest to over time now at this point in time. but you have that same consistent experience, which for a lot of people, we think at Ignite, are focused on taking a lot of the learnings back to people who are going to be using it, not just that we expect all the users are here, but to be able to think, when I train somebody on what's the file experience in Office 365, you can't just dictate that they always go to the document library in SharePoint. We hope that there's a ton of value to keep you in the context of where you started. It may be that you were checking email and you navigate to a group set of files. That document library experience will be the same there. Or you started in a chat because somebody mentioned you. You navigate to the files. Again, a nice rich experience right there in Microsoft Teams. So just personally having seen this and seen where they started, where there was a delta, it's a really nice experience when you don't have to context switch in your mind. How do I use this thing here? Oh, it's the same as where I just use it over there.
Well, that's a great lead-in to where we're going. So through the power of Morph, here we go. I hope we've talked about OneDrive and SharePoint, and so now let's talk about the other question we get. Should I use SharePoint or should I use Microsoft Teams? I bet you can predict what my answer is going to be, which is yes.
Yes.
You should use SharePoint and Microsoft Teams. I work on SharePoint, and I am not offended in the least if you come up to me and say, I don't really use SharePoint, I use Microsoft Teams, because I'm just as happy. Every time you use Teams, you're using SharePoint. We work together, we power the shared powered experiences. It's great. And if for your organization, you find that your users are gravitating towards Teams, it's an interface that they understand, it's a modality that they like, and they're not really getting SharePoint, that is fine. In fact, nobody's feelings will be hurt if you never mention the word SharePoint in your organization. Honestly.
There's one guy. There's that one guy.
But if we've actually found it's been helpful just in terms of some prescriptive guidance. If you're introducing people to Office 365 and they're coming from other systems that don't have this notion of shared libraries or shared websites or things like that, it's okay to introduce people to Office 365 and say, let me talk to you about OneDrive and let me talk to you about Microsoft Teams. You're still going to be using SharePoint under the covers. All of you who are SharePoint admins will still have your jobs. I will still have my job, but it's okay not to have to put that thing front and center for users. So let's dig in here with some demo.
So just while you're getting set up with demo, we've got next giveaway, but I also think just a time where if we can get everybody to answer 3 questions, the third one being the giveaway. The first question is, who here uses SharePoint? If I can get you not just to raise your hand, you don't have to stand up, but I just want to see visually, like a big visual for us up here. Stand up if you have used or use SharePoint. So please keep standing or join the standers if you use Microsoft Teams. How many did we lose? Not that many. That's wonderful. All right. So here's where we might lose some people, but I hope to gain you in a different way. This is a belt. It's a seat belt buckle. It's kind of fun. And it's got our InterZone logo. It's a podcast that Chris McNulty and I run, and we have lots of internal and external guests, so a little pitch to the InterZone. So if you can take a seat if you haven't listened to an episode of the InterZone yet, and you have to be honest here, because I'll ask you every single one of you questions about every episode. So for the people remaining standing, if you're interested in the belt, if somebody would go to the microphone and let me know what was your favorite episode and why, just a short synopsis. Anything about the show.
That's a taker.
All right, brave soul, let's hear it. We get to be friends. We're already friends, so
What?
turn this way so everybody can hear you.
My favorite episode is this with OneDrive and SharePoint, and Hans, stand up. And this is an episode with Hans Brender.
So
Stand up.
the InterZone is just audio only, but let's make it a video podcast real quick. Hans Brender, did you enjoy being on the InterZone?
Yes.
That's it. That's it. There you go. You're welcome. All right, so now back to the show.
Okay, so let's take a look at SharePoint and Teams seamless integration back and forth. So I want to start by just doing, again, the quick tour of all the richness that you can build in SharePoint when you try to create those tailored experiences and making it work just the way your team needs to, as Jeff Tieper talked about in his general session. And then we'll look at how it all shows up in Teams.
And I do want to just throw in there, for all those people that sat down about that, they haven't listened to the InterZone show, I think it's a fantastic show. aka.ms/theinterzone. Give it a try.
All right, so we already saw the richness of the document library, so let's remember how that thing looks. We have a list over here which does not look all that rich right now. It's got tailored column settings, but doesn't have too much formatting. But hidden behind another view here, we're using the new view formatter capability. So we've applied some custom logic on top of here to take this list and present it in a more compelling way. We're using the location column, super cool stuff. So let's remember that thing exists. We of course have our beautiful composite apps, which is not just a page, but a page in which the web parts use dynamic data to talk to each other. So I've got my list over here, and when I click on one of the items in the list, we take the account manager and send that information over to the profile web part. This is a custom web part that we built just for our organization to highlight profile in the right way. And then also when I click the location, comes down here and powers the map web part. So that's what we call a composite app using the dynamic data framework in the SharePoint framework. Available for both our first-party web parts and for third-party web parts, which is super cool. And then, of course, in SharePoint, we also have an extensibility point, which is custom web parts. So I'm going to look at a custom web part that we built here. We'll edit the page, and my organization has built a web part for sales lead tracking, integrating from our CRM system and a bunch of other cool places. The tenant admin has reviewed it and has approved it for the team. So when I search in the toolbox, I see that it's here. Again, it loads up and shows me all the leads coming in from the leads management system. Lots of cool richness in SharePoint, but this is not just a SharePoint session. This is a SharePoint and Teams Better Together session.
And,
So
lots of and.
It's an and. So let's go look over here. Okay, we're starting. Oh, wait a minute. I forgot to show you a super cool thing. Bad job, me. Let's go back over here and show actually two ways you can get from SharePoint into Teams. The first way is we just add a link over here. So when you are connected to it, be careful in our language, when there's a SharePoint site which is participating in Office 365 groups, and it is connected to a Microsoft team that belongs to that same group, we'll just put the link right up there so it's easy to click and navigate over.
And I'm going to interrupt you and add something that we didn't have yet planned, but you know this. So if you go back down, go hover over retail promotions.
Yes.
So I think this is one of the most hidden, most useful features if you like to navigate across apps and, of course, see a lot more about what's going on in the group. If you notice the icon on the far left, if you don't have your group team site connected to Teams, you wouldn't see this icon. But when you do, same as you can put it in the left-hand nav, it'll appear in the group card. In the upper left, you see it's the purple T. And that gives you an idea. Do we have Teams yet? If not, you can certainly change that. But we'll hold that for a second.
And then I'm going to drill in here. So the way that Teams, Microsoft Teams works is every time you create a channel, that creates a folder in the shared library that belongs to that team. And now, when you go into one of those folders, we're going to make it really clear that this folder is connected to Teams and there's a lot of stuff going on. So we give you a nice clear message over here, and then we give you a link right here that goes over. We'll also, just so you have the heads up, increasingly build business logic around this to help with consistency between SharePoint and Microsoft Teams. So one of the first things we've done is you cannot delete this general folder from SharePoint, because if you delete the folder, you kind of abandon the channel. All of a sudden, all the files for the channel are gone. All the links in that channel don't make sense. So when you try to delete, we'll put up a message and say, this thing is owned by Teams. Go over to Teams. If you want to delete the general channel, that's fine, and then we'll delete this folder too. But don't go changing things underneath Teams. So let's go and take a look at what happens if we go over to that conversation. The first integration point that we'll see here is SharePoint News. So this is running the SharePoint News connector, which you can add to any channel in Microsoft Teams. It looks for news posts that are published in SharePoint. A news post is just a modern page that someone has chosen to promote to the organization so that that information gets shared out broadly, whether it's on the SharePoint mobile app or in SharePoint Home or in a news web part that gets rolled up in your hub or other places like that. When you post news, if you have the connector wired up, the news shows up right here with a nice preview, and people can have conversations right here about it, which is awesome. We saw files in SharePoint. Well, of course, we should see files in Teams. Very excited to demo this thing live for the first time at a conference. The exact same control is showing up here, so you get the same column formatting. You get all the same multi-choice columns that are here. You'll get the ability to do filtering. There's our filter. Shows up right here in Teams. We are committed to bringing the full richness of SharePoint to wherever you are using your files. And that is a joint project between SharePoint, OneDrive, and Teams, as well as the Outlook Web Access team. We are all using this same shared control. It's going to be the exact same thing. We're really excited to bring this out later this year.
Woo!
Thank you. Let's take a look.
Hold on before, oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, now there's more to go. There's more.
No, before you move off of that tab, there's a really important button you guys now have enabled.
Yes. How could I have missed sync? Directly in here in Microsoft Teams. Again, if someone is using Teams, they don't have to think about going somewhere else to sync. We're going to bring that button.
No, you said it wrong. When they come here in Teams, they don't have to think about it.
Oh.
Sorry.
We will talk later about how long you were planning that for.
You know, we talked about not having to give this presentation again. I think I'm part of the root of why he doesn't
That would
wanna
not
give
have made it past the dry run. So that was a drop in. Okay, we'll look at our list, which again we can bring here. Again, we're going to get the full fidelity and richness of the SharePoint list, assuming the internet is on our side, which I always like to assume. Why wouldn't the internet be on my side? Okay, let's try this one and see if this works. This is our composite app. Here we go, this one's coming up. So again, that's that same rich app that we saw running in SharePoint using connected web parts. Hey, the same thing works right here. So I go ahead and click on one of these guys. I see the exact same experience. So that's pretty nifty. One more time with my lists. Oh, there we go. So we're going to get the whole list experience here. If you prefer to see the beautiful formatted view, you'll get to see that. So that is super exciting.
One point I think just nice to make here is if you hit my other favorite button here, the chat. So imagine you pulled this asset out of your team site or something like a communication site where maybe you don't own this list at all, or you don't own the page or the site or whatever you brought in. The real context here is you can bring it inside your team to have a conversation around it. When you chat in Microsoft Teams, it's private to that channel or that team that you're in. But that context is, of course, very relevant to the team, but it's not being made visible as far as the conversation, even if the asset that you're referencing, the page, the news article, the whatever, that might be very public around the company, but the conversation is right there. And when you're actually in conversation view, you would get that link to the asset so that you're keeping those things in context.
And I'm going to show you one other thing that's super cool, which we announced availability of in the SharePoint framework, which is that leads web part that we built in SharePoint. If you are a SharePoint developer and you know how to build web parts, you now know how to build tabs in Teams. Ooh. So what you will see is that exact same experience. Yeah, super cool.
It's really good.
That exact same experience shows up here. And yes, you could create a page like I did, put the web part in it, and then host the page in Teams. That's fine. I'm happy if you do that. But we will also now have an ability with some tenant admin approval to say I actually want to boost that web part to directly be a tab you can pick in Teams. And so we'll see how we do some of these cool integrations. When you go up here, here's the Leads tab. There's another custom web part that we built here called Care. Those just show up, you click on it, it creates the tab and hosts you right there. We also now have the SharePoint tab, so the way I was showing those pages and lists was by going to the SharePoint tab and say I want to insert a page. We'll show you all the pages available on the site connected to this team, and likewise for lists. And then you can make a decision about whether or not you're going to get a conversation started right off the bat or not. Okay, lots of cool SharePoint experiences in Teams. I want to do just a little bit more to show you some of the other Teams things we're bringing back into SharePoint. So let me switch over to this guy. Nope, I went too far. Sorry, let me step back in this guy for just a second. I want to show you a tab here that a ISV has written called, this is a company called Reich. They do resource management and planning. It's a tab that's available in Microsoft Teams. Just like we said a web part developer is all of a sudden a Teams developer and the thing just plugs in, we're really excited to say that anyone who's a Teams developer is now a SharePoint developer. And so when we go over here, which tab is it? I didn't pre-open the tab. My apologies. Let me go.
That's because you're doing a tab outside of Teams.
Yeah, I know.
You just lost your context.
So many things. Let's go ahead and open that thing, which is Project Zelda. So what you'll see here in SharePoint is that that exact same Reich experience, which is built as a Microsoft Teams tab, can now be hosted as a full-page SharePoint framework app directly in SharePoint. That's something that it's going to take a little bit of work from the people who build Teams tabs. They have to update to the latest SDK, and then again, with the right magic approval from tenant admin, all those experiences will come right into SharePoint. So we're super excited about that. And then, last but not least, I will show off Teamify, which is hiding down here. But so for group-connected sites that don't yet have a Microsoft team associated with them, we will make it even easier if you're in SharePoint to get connected with Microsoft Teams. All you have to do is click here and say create a team. That will create the team. It'll be connected to this site, and then you'll then be able to add all those tabs and pages and lists and all that kind of stuff that you want to do. We have all the right caveats in place, which is we only show this button to people for whom we are 100% certain it will work. So they have to be owners of the group. They have to be licensed and permitted to create new teams, but then we'll go ahead and show the experience right there.
And if you want to see if it really happens in real time, puts a little pressure on you, go to the group card again before you click it, and we'll see if the...
You are putting pressure. I guess no one else has to do this demo again, so now it's safe to do.
Let's see. So group card.
Yeah, so if you see the card there.
All right, just squint. Can you see a purple T?
There's no team there, and there is no team link over here. Tejas, should I do this? Do it. All right, we're doing it.
Cheer him on.
It's his.
Jeremy. Jeremy. Jeremy.
Hey, it's not me. Tejas is
Tejas.
So if he says it works.
Here it goes.
Okay, and let's open it up in the web app.
It's working. Tejas is going to be hired or fired?
Well, let's see, even as this, there we go, I didn't actually click. All right, all kinds of gobbledygook in there.
Working.
It's thinking, it's saying it wants to create a team. Let's see if it actually happened over here on this side.
Oh gosh, you're going early.
Come on. Ooh, look at that, everybody.
Part one.
Teams is there.
Tejas is doing good.
We're not in the card yet. We're still cooking. We're still cooking. Oh, come on, Teams, finish up. All right, I think in the...
There it goes.
There we go. And did it make it?
You're on.
I am on it, says Tejas. Hey, fantastic. Yeah, giving campaign, general. There you go.
I bet you'd be in the group card now.
So it does work. That's going to be rolling out quite soon as well. So we're excited about all those connections. You've heard me talk in the past about no site left behind. All of your investment in SharePoint we want to bring forward. We've talked at the SharePoint conference about the ability to connect any standalone site into an Office 365 group. And now once you've got that group, you can go ahead and boost it and connect it with Teams. The card isn't there yet. There's a bunch of back-end sync stuff that has to happen, but it'll be there. It's super cool.
We'll check at the very end. I'm confident.
Okay, let's go back to slideware. Okay, so what did we just see there, and how do we help users kind of reason over it? Let's just recap a little bit. We have Office 365 groups, which is that collection of people right there in the middle. It also comes with, as Mark said, some policy and some life cycle that come with it. And then all of the Office 365 applications are designed to work with and empower that set of people, wherever they want to get work done. So whether you want to work in SharePoint on sites and pages and apps and tailoring your web experience, whether you want to work with files in OneDrive or in Office, whether you want to have that sort of real-time chat-based collaboration in Teams, they all sort of power off that same notion of who the group is, who the people are, and the resources attached to it. For reasons of space, you will not see all the other cool group resources, the planner and the Power BI and the conversation in OA and the calendar and all those kinds of things. And then, again, the guidance we want to give to people is it's not an either-or decision. It's an and decision. So if the frame of mind you're in is I want to work with files, go ahead and use OneDrive. Hey, there we go. And that will be a great way to interact with the files that belong to that group. If what you're thinking about is, man, it's time for me to build out a really tailored experience, I want to customize my website, I want to customize the heck out of my libraries and lists, I want to publish some news, I want to author a page in a composite app, well, SharePoint is the right lens for that. And that'll give you a great view for working with the files, the lists, and the pages and apps. And then if you want to go and have a single pane of glass to get all of your teamwork done, you want to have that new sort of digital transformation experience of working in one quick place, real-time conversations. Again, your channels and Teams are a great place to do that, and we'll bring all of that content into Teams. So you use the one that makes the most sense to you.
So hopefully you're getting the fact that it's an and. When you see not just SharePoint and Teams working better together, but OneDrive, SharePoint, and Teams working better together, we think there's a lot of times when you're just going to be working in one or the other in terms of just where you start your day and maybe where you want to maintain and not have to do that context switch from app to app. But as you start to get the experience of how they are integrated together when you are in one application and you can get essentially to the other without leaving it, that's really the value of that better together. So I think the real big value is that we didn't have to have the Microsoft Teams team build a document repository and have a lot of catch-up work to get it to the value of where SharePoint was already and certainly is continuing to go. You get that value of the power of SharePoint if you think of it as a content service baked into all of these experiences, but you don't have to switch the context and you get the same consistent experience when people are working with the content. I think the final thing that's just the better together, if you think about emailing a document in the past and you had that version that was on your desktop or in your hard drive, on your file server, or if you were already doing it in the right way, it is in the cloud. But as you start to email attachments, you would have kind of a version mess in terms of multiple versions that are out there, even in different people's inboxes. And we hope that all these assets that you reference that are being powered by the SharePoint Content Service are the same thing. You've got that single source of truth, and it just is the entry point of where you're viewing them from, but not to be limited to not just viewing, but actually filtering, interacting, editing. There's a lot of things that you can do in these applications, again, with a consistent experience. Bring them all together, it's three teams working really well together, from my perspective, if you think about the engineering behind it, but to the total value of, for end users, not getting lost, being able to accomplish what they're doing, and hopefully not 3 sets of training that they have to go to for every single feature, but a lot of things that are duplicative in a positive way. So, if we myth bust and you move through, we hope you agree with us that it's SharePoint and Microsoft Teams. And the reasons why is, first of all, every team in all of these contexts already uses SharePoint, even if they don't know it. And like you heard Jeremy say, that's okay if people don't know the brand SharePoint or think about I'm doing this in SharePoint. It's just a file that I want to make available to my team, or I saw and found something that some other of my team member did. I have access to it and I can leverage it and work on it. We think this is where the whole team can be most productive when they're working together. That value of being able to build on the shoulders of others or for other people to be able to take advantage of what you've done, we think that that's very true. But when you get to creating assets, the things that we don't want the other teams to build as far as the functionality for the end user are things, again, that SharePoint brings into the fold when you go beyond the file. Lists, library, pages, the composite apps, and all the capabilities from a content service perspective are what you think of that SharePoint provides, or if you don't think about SharePoint, you at least know you can do some of those rich capabilities beyond the files themselves. So, again, we think these are integrated experiences. We hope you agree if you go and start to try either what you already have in this context, try some of these things that you can already do today. But as you start to think about on the purple at the top, the experience of OneDrive and SharePoint is in Teams. One thing that we didn't demo, but it's been talked about even before the show, is that even in Teams, you can navigate to your OneDrive set of folders and files. But again, it's the same access. You're just doing it from Teams. But you get rich experience of news, files, lists, pages, and I think that that train hasn't stopped yet because we want everything that you can do in SharePoint to be a really rich experience. And the reverse is true. If you go from what you do in Teams and bring that into SharePoint, you would have that same capability for the visibility that you saw from a folders perspective, that you can add a team so that you can get the value of having a really nice, rich conversation piece that's connected to your content and to the rest of your team. And then that value of having a tab as a full-page app, which I think maybe is a tab as an app, you know, if you take a tab and put it into SharePoint, or a full page app if you bring a tab and, sorry, if you bring a web part and put that in, did I say that backwards? A tab,
so you got the right
full page
idea.
app, you know what I
Everyone's
mean.
on board.
So there's that value of the integrated experiences. There's also the value of don't think too much about what's possible and how to accomplish it. A lot of these things, especially even for developers, is you're developing the same patterns and practices for the benefit of being able to then leverage this across more experiences.
All right, we're in the home stretch, and we'll have plenty of time for questions. Just the few key takeaways about adopting this content services platform, not just adopting SharePoint, but adopting all of Office 365. We are working to make sure, as I say, that no content is left behind. So on the SharePoint side, you'll be able to connect those site collections into an Office 365 group. You will be able to connect that group into a team directly from within SharePoint, and then you can organize and make sense of all of those sites in your intranet using hub sites, which we talked a lot about here. I'm pretty excited about the work there. We do want to make sure that people just understand that the content platform and SharePoint are ready for your largest workloads, the most content you want to throw at us. Huge site collections, a 15 gigabyte file size, which is pretty cool. The 30 million tested threshold, we don't say limit, but it's the threshold up to which we've tested. And I think someone earlier in the conference offered to go beyond that if someone has a great use case and wants to test it out with us. We've done all the right work on predictive indexing and background indexing so that no matter what size your list is, you get a great experience as you look at it and use filters there. And then we really want to make sure the experiences come to wherever people are. So whether you're on a Mac, whether you're on a PC, whether you're on mobile, whether you're in OneDrive, whether you're in SharePoint, whether you're in Teams, whether you're in Word and PowerPoint and Office.com, we want to bring all the best we have to offer to wherever your users are going to be. And so we actually really believe in this slide. Like this guides the work that we do, which is to build that consistent platform, get all of the great content services, all of the integration with information protection and policy and compliance. And the list of experiences on top, we just want to be richer and richer and richer over time. It's not just a marketing slide, it is actually the work that we do in the team every day. So let's close out with just a little bit of roadmap. I think I'm just going to put this thing up here. You're all just going to take a picture anyways. A lot of the stuff we showed will be out by the end of this year. We do have some additional work that we want to make sure we're delivering in the first part of 2019, and some thoughts about where we want to keep taking this integration and work, or we don't have specific features or timelines to commit to, but just want to make sure everyone knows that it is something we're thinking about and working on there. So of the stuff I demoed, I think everything except for that channel connection we should see out by the end of this year, and then the folders recognizing channels. We'll roll that out a little bit more gradually. It'll start with new channels that you create. We'll show up with that branding in SharePoint, and then we'll have to run some background jobs to go to every channel and folder already created in the world and update them. So I didn't want to overcommit on our timing there, but we'll work on those things.
Before we move off our roadmap,
yes.
before we get into a couple things of Scan, we want to have a chance to give away the SharePoint belt. And I want to give, I think, more of a chance if you're in the back, because I know a lot of the activity has been up front, but anybody, of course, can play. We're going to do Q&A just after this. Can we get the Q&A mics up so that they're functional? If not, I'll run out. But so if you're interested in the SharePoint belt, it's a seatbelt buckle similar to the IntraZone one. We would just love to hear from a brave soul if you step up to the microphone. The only thing you have to do is start the sentence off with, "I love SharePoint because." And we'd love to hear a real story, what you either found out today, what you've been doing. No brave souls, or do I have to force it? Oh yeah, I see a brave soul.
There you go.
All right, so I love SharePoint because.
I love SharePoint because everything's in the cloud.
Everything's out. So, sir, have you and your company been in the cloud, thinking about the cloud, moving to
Yes, all of our private files are in the cloud.
All of your private clouds are in the
Yes.
cloud. And as I walk towards you, I'm going to interview you. Stay there for a second. So while you're wearing this belt and people are asking you, what is your experience in the cloud? What was the first workload to go into the cloud of SharePoint? Just files, your portals.
Hey, Mark, I'm going to interrupt just real
Apps?
quick
Yep.
All files.
since people
All
are
files.
leaving.
We have no file storage on-prem. That's private.
Okay, awesome, thank you.
On your way out, please do copy down this link. We have a short survey. It's like 10 questions. It's some feedback for us on how you're using the modern experiences across document libraries and lists, across pages, and across the SharePoint framework. It's a place for you to give us a little prioritization about what you think has to come next. It should work great on your phone if you want to do it while you're here, or you can follow up afterwards. But that is, I think, officially the end of Ignite. Goodbye, we're leaving.
Oh!
No.
So if Jeremy and team do it right, you'll never see Jeremy again. Just kidding, just kidding. He'll find another topic
I will
that
be
he
at the
gets
pool
chosen.
next Ignite, and you can all visit me there.
So just to be clear, of course, it's the end of the day, end of the session, end of the week. We really appreciate your time throughout the whole conference. We hope you got a ton of great information, a lot of great context, networking, information about new products and old. We do have time, so Jeremy and I will be here. If you want to use the microphones, because we'll still record for people who aren't here, questions. And I do have one more giveaway, not to stop everybody at the door, but if you're interested, the last thing is a little USB key. It's not very big as far as size. It's 2 gigs, but it's got a little legacy cred because it's actually an Office SharePoint Server 2007 USB key. So if there is a brave soul that has used Office SharePoint 2007, we would love to hear what you did in 2007 on SharePoint. Is there anybody here that has a good story?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yep. So we did a public website in SharePoint 2007. First time we deployed an internet-facing website using SharePoint.
Awesome. Well, on this key, I actually put SharePoint Online. So you can log in and start using the cloud.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And then just a last thought, please do take the time to fill in an evaluation. We read every verbatim that comes in on those on how the presentation went, and everyone else on our team reads the evaluations as well to see if we did better than them or not. So please do fill those in. We're always eager to hear the feedback.
So we got about
Okay.
10 minutes, and we hope that there are questions. If not, certainly have a great rest of your day. But if there are, we'll start on the left and just break it down to wherever anybody's standing by the microphone.
Yeah.
And then if you have further questions or you want to just chat, I'll be here as well after for a little bit. Go for it.
I also love SharePoint, and we put 150,000 users on a brand new intranet on 2007.
Excellent.
And they're still around.
They're still, okay, they're
No,
still happy or happier.
Happier because they're not there any longer. My question and my comment was that I guess that most of us in this room have used SharePoint to move away from File Explorer, to get away from folder structures and start using views and metadata, and that's a struggle. And people have a hard time understanding that 255 characters is something you need to face. And so it was a surprise to me to see that you are using folders when the document libraries are provisioned via Teams. Is that a new best practice from your side, or why is it folders?
I have one answer that's just maybe not a guess in terms of why they chose the architecture, but I'd love to hear Jeremy's take on it as well. But if you think about it, when you're in a Teams, and if there's just one channel, you never create a need for another channel, then you just have essentially a folder in a document library. So it is where you put all your stuff. But as you start to have different conversations, and if you think about a team, and I can give the example of when SharePoint team works inside of Teams, they work across different feature teams, different parts of SharePoint that focus on internal, external. There's lots of discussions, pre-beta, beta, whatever the scenario might be. And in those channels, there's very targeted access, not limited access, but targeted access to what that channel is all about. So having everything in a channel, gives you access as you navigate the tab structure to see the files that are relevant to that conversation or those people that are interested in that channel's content. And of course, within that folder, you can do a lot of powerful things because it is, again, based on SharePoint. but it has an initial focused view on the content that's relevant to that channel. That would be my first instinct.
Yeah, I guess I'd point out a couple things. First, we love metadata also. We will continue to invest in metadata-driven views across SharePoint. If you've seen the new modern highlighted content web part, that's a great example. When we think about these common file experiences and finding files and picking files in all these different locations, we will continue to invest in metadata there for sure. When it comes to the architecture for channel integration in particular, I would say two things. One is the mental model that we really wanted to expose to users was the channel as a container, so that when you see it in Teams, you name the thing, you create it, you can set different policies on that channel, and then you can delete it, and everything that goes with that channel goes away. And so for that model, you really want strict containment, and when you get in the metadata world, it starts to get a little bit confusing about what happens once you've tagged something and the tag goes away. Does the file go away? You know,
I completely agree with you, because we are so many struggling with moving people from folders. And I think there must be using manage metadata or something, because when we bring the SharePoint users into Teams, they see the folders again, and the same people that was behind all the messages stop using it. Well, it's there again. So I think you should, to find a way to delete the channel with its content, I think that's like basic for you to do in another way. You don't need folders for that. So I would really want to see that you are moving away from folders, unless there is a new best practice, and then you should promote that.
No, we're not intending to change the best practice. I think for this particular use case, there's a set of things that happen today, and if you read through the Teams user voice, you can see that a bunch of top asks are things like, hey, I want to drag a channel from one team to another. Or, hey, I want to change the permissions of a particular channel. I don't want everyone in the team to see it. And so we were very thoughtful about those requests that are coming into the user voice. We're not talking about any particular plans there right now, but we were trying to think of the best way to model that for those use cases. Cool. But I've got the feedback, I hear you.
Thank you.
Just keep rotating.
Well, I have a question regarding more of the modern intranet perspective of the things. You know, we are, as a lot of companies probably have an intranet that doesn't have that much collaborative aspects of it. And now we're trying to move into a more modern way of thinking, where we would like to have an intranet that is collaborative as well. Mm-hmm. And it's all neat with the hub sites and all that, but a lot of companies have really complex organizational structures, and you probably have one business organizational structure, and then you have an operational structure, and yep. So I just want to hear your view on, you know, building a collaborative intranet with a complex organizational structure.
Yeah, it's a good thing we have metadata.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of different ways to look at it, especially when you think of content that's shared in a lot of different experiences, but yet managed in a central location. And you mentioned collaborative way. There certainly is the aspect of where people may spend more time in collaboration, team sites. But as they start to pull and collaborate, you know, in the broader sense across the organization or across teams or functions, I think the team is really thinking about that. There is a session that I did, and I know there's a session that a woman on Jeremy's team, Melissa Torres, also gave, that just kind of talks in the context of really what does a hub site give you, but also the session that Sue Hanley really was behind that I helped with as well, was a session on just how to think about planning and some of the guidance that she would promote, and we certainly would promote in the product, to build a modern intranet in Office 365, obviously using SharePoint and more. And I think a lot of it is there are some things that product-wise are, you know, you have to make some choices with hub sites. It's a way to organize multiple sites together. And there are some things when you officially associate a site to a hub, some of the magic that happens there, it helps you better govern, it helps you better navigate, search, and some of the consistencies of look and feel. But there's other things that you can do, metadata, there's other things in the navigation elements. It doesn't always have to be a site that's officially associated to it, but now with the new mega menus, you might have some assets that you link off to that aren't actually under that hub site officially. And that's okay, because the real context switch is, what is the link saying as you go to it? I'm still Mark, moving to another part of my intranet to go find or read whatever I'm looking for. And so that cross-function, if you think about the mega menu, you may have something that is a little bit more broad than that hub itself, so that you're giving view into what it is you're trying to promote. And when it gets more complex, obviously you have to be more thoughtful. Where do I put it when I want to get that kind of bound experience so that you get the rich search scopes, you get some of the automatic roll-up of information, the push down a theme, some of the policies that can be adhered now when a site joins, you get this site design and site script that runs. Once you make some of those decisions, you're not locked into that's now your framework of how you promote it. To the end user, they're just navigating to different sites and things that you, as maybe a site owner or as an organizational leader, want to promote how to get around. But the real nice thing is, as things change, that's the last important part, you can switch and either just adjust where that link points to, or actually move the whole site and associate it to a different hub. And you'll see, if you saw Melissa's talk, there's a lot of things they're thinking of top of mind to make it even more powerful and more flexible. And I'll let her speech do its own talking.
Yeah, I was looking up the name. But that session is Learn About SharePoint Hub Sites and Other Best Practices for an Intranet Information Architecture in Office 365. It's Melissa Torres and Sam Crudson, who together are building out. Melissa both is the product owner on my team for hub sites, and she's also building out all the hub sites at Microsoft where we face this exact same problem. And so at a high level, I would say, yes, we're aware of it. We've architected in a way that lets you do things like roll up news from 5 different hub sites into one place, even though we don't support yet nesting of hub sites. But if you listen to Melissa and Sam's session, you'll get a lot of the context there.
Yeah, because one of the things that I'm trying to achieve is basically to have one hub, one personal hub that is relevant to me, but it also combines the information for the whole company.
Yep, and that's split between whether it's curated by somebody else or it's based on what you do and who you work with. We have those bells and whistles and knobs for you to tune. Some of our partners give you some of that experience out of the box, a very personalized experience. Our SharePoint Home is a great example. That, that if you use that in the context of that's a part of your intranet, you get aggregated news for you. You see your frequent sites, you see your suggestions, and some of the things that are programmed for you in terms of the common sites for everybody.
Yeah, and I think you'll see more and more first-party web parts with that lens on it, which is show me a personally relevant view. So news, in fact, there's now a news web source. When you put in the news web part, you can say news from this site, news from the hub that's attached to this site, news from a list of sites, and then the newest option is news that's relevant to me. And so you can create a page for someone and say, just go to that page. When you have dynamic data web parts, you can now, if their page URL has a query param in it, you can pass that into every web part on the page, and every web part on the page can decide what to show based on who the current user is, and what their role is or something like that. So
that's interesting.
Yeah, we do want to go in that direction.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody over here? Back here.
Hi, thank you. First of all, it's great that you've been harmonizing the sharing experience across the products. But is there any way that the default is not people in your organization, but maybe members or specific people, because other mistakes users do?
For sharing links?
For sharing a file from OneDrive or anything. The default is always people in your organization, and that creates problems. So.
Yes, we have a few OneDrive people in the room, but they weren't hearing the question. I believe we already have a tenant admin setting. So in the sharing links, you can set which level is the default. Is that right? I'm getting a lot of nods.
Yep.
Yes, so there is a tenant admin setting where you can say, well, I want to keep that everyone in the organization enabled, but please default it to only specific people or something like that.
Sorry?
Yep, so in the UX, as an admin, you would make a choice, which is the default, but you can also minimize which ones appear, correct? So if you go, what we showed you was everything's available and open and you make the choices, which is good, but you could also limit, I don't want people to be able to make it shared anonymously, or just with a group, or just, so you can set that default, and you can limit what they could navigate to make different choices.
Okay, great, thanks.
Yep. Thanks.
Are we done with the microphone yet?
Please. You get the tough question of explaining, what does this thing mean on your shirt? It's a heart.
No, it's a
But
heart. I
what
love
is
Microsoft.
I love Microsoft. Great.
So my question comes up to what you guys were talking about. We're just moving into SharePoint now, moving our files and stuff over. So I'm envisioning more of not an intranet, because you guys kind of touched on it, where I want a place for my people to be able to centrally go, maybe have the document list and the document preview, and then the web part for like Teams.
Yep.
And the web, you were talking about the web part for Teams is not available yet, or it is available?
So it's not so much a web part for Teams, but
Okay.
it's taking some of the applications that they've built in Teams, which they refer to as tabs. So when you go to add a tab in Teams, it's really pulling in an app essentially that's going to pull in an experience from other service. So our first-party services or third-party services. What we're enabling is so you could take that tab app and bring it into the SharePoint fold if you wanted to bring the value that's already built and then bring it into SharePoint, and vice versa. A SharePoint app that we have or one that you've built, to be able to bring that in as a web part, as a tab, so essentially a full tab app in Teams. Once you start to figure out what it is you want your page to look like in SharePoint, or what you want your tab structure to be in Teams, you can, of course, in SharePoint build nice, rich mini dashboards. You know, like you said, list of files. Here's the file, and then maybe some other information. And if you had built that page, it's easy to bring into Teams. It's just a page in Teams. Or if there was a custom component you built to do some specific thing that you need, and you wanted that to be a tab experience in Teams, it's just making it available for people to leverage it in Teams, add a tab, choose the right thing, and there it goes.
Okay, but if SharePoint is like the landing page area that they're going to, my concern would be if Teams was just a menu item.
Yes.
Maybe they would ignore it and not use it as much as if it was just like right there.
So
on
you're
the
looking
page.
for a web part that is the conversation.
Yes, thank you.
Yes,
Exactly.
I should have put that on our top of mind list. That is something that we're working on with our colleagues and teams.
Okay.
So one way to think about it, obviously top of mind means high on the feedback list and certainly something that we want to look into. But in that context, there is another area where people speak very broadly across the company, which is Yammer. And Yammer made a nice announcement. It's a really rich web part where you can bring the Yammer conversation into SharePoint. So in a scenario where you might do a big all-hands presentation to the whole company, and you post the video, the PowerPoint, some context of what the meeting was about, and then you have a place where people can have a broad dialogue, kind of an open community around something like an executive corner site. The conversation would technically live in Yammer, but you would have that Yammer web part, and now they've released a full, rich Yammer web part that they announced here at the show. In the context of thinking, it's that same thing. How can I bring that chat conversation into the Teams site, which is, again, what you heard Jeremy say that they have as top of mind.
All right, I'll look it up. Thanks.
Thanks.
So this is a question related to the mega menu. What is the data source of the items in the mega menu? Is it dynamically built based on the communication sites underneath it, or is it the metadata term store, or is it list driven?
It's I'm going to try to remember the terminology. On a communication site, you can choose your data provider, and the mega menu is just a visualization on top of it. So whichever data provider you're using, whether you're using quick links or whether you're using, is it management data or text? I forget what the names are of the data providers, but essentially anything you would get in the navigation menu today, mega menu will just understands not to do cascading and just to build it in that one pane. For hubs, which also support mega menu, that is a quick links-like storage thing that's local to the site. So that is the hub nav is not yet dynamic in any way. It's a fixed list that's static for the hub.
Okay.
And then it goes up to 3 levels deep.
Okay, and is there any way to permission those individual items for different audiences?
That is a top-of-mind item.
Yeah, that's something we really need right now. But
it is, yeah, with under active exploration, very active exploration, I would say.
And I would also list it as it's part of the grow up plan in terms of, if we just launched it here at the show, it's not even available just yet. There's a lot of, in modern start and then keep plugging away. And what's nice is the team knew about it walking into the show and it was, I think, landing pretty high as top of mind for Melissa to start to scratch harder on her head about
Sure. Yeah, our scenario would be employees in different countries maybe wanting to look at an employee handbook.
Yep.
So they're going to be targeted differently.
Yep. The other thing, just beyond navigation, not to try to get ourselves out of jail for a second, but there are a lot of things you can do to target audiences for the different web parts, like news. You have now audience targeting. You set it for the site to have it turned on, and then by page or news, you define what is the right audience. And it's just based on your groups, security groups, Office 365 groups, individuals if you wanted.
I would look, if you would like a hint of where we're going with navigation, I would look exactly at that feature, the new news audience targeting feature.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Why don't we say, I think these folks are waiting a little bit, so let's do a couple more there. And then.
The news and audience navigation feature, is it already there? Or it's planned? I think it's end of the year. I see something on the roadmap, is it right?
The audience targeting isn't out just yet, but some of the things that you can choose between, the only thing that's new from what you're asking in the news web part is that ability to have it based on the graph, so that it's recommended to you based on who you are and what the service knows about you.
Yeah.
But already today you can have it come from this site, across sites, or sites that you can choose from.
Okay, perfect.
But as you get down below the fold in the news web part, that's where a lot of the new stuff is that we've been showing that isn't out yet.
Do you have your picture of the roadmap? I don't remember. It's not available now, audience targeting for news, and I just don't remember where they put it in the roadmap.
Yeah, I'd have to look. Just FYI, later today I'm going to be tweeting out 4 slides across a couple of sessions that's just the roadmap, so that people can read the related blogs and check out the roadmap, so timing will be there. But
what I really like, to go on with that, is that you're bringing SharePoint and Microsoft Teams more together, because it was really confusing people where to put my staff and how to find it at the end. It's really cool for that. One question around that as well. You've shown us before the possibility to have in the OneDrive, so SharePoint libraries also in place, right? In the OneDrive, you have the
so you have your personal files at the top, and then the bottom left navigation element, it'll tell you.
Which libraries are shown there?
Those are your group-connected team sites that you're a part of. So when you join a team or join a group, there's always going to be a default document library.
Well, sorry, you're talking about literally how do we decide which things to show in this list?
Yeah, not the share, not really complete that. I mean, if you go deeper from this point here, for example, if you're talking about site assets library, which is also a little bit, a document library at the end, is it also be shown here, or is it be hidden? Is it possible to hide specific libraries here?
I think site assets we do hide. Let's take a look here, because this is one that has multiple doc libraries.
Yep, I believe they do that trimming. Because I believe almost about a year ago, there was another area where you would get into and you would just see everything. You know, even like when you go just to the site contents page, they wanted to minimize.
Yeah, there are 2 settings
initial
on every
view.
Every doc library has is system and is hidden.
Okay.
And we use the new OneDrive modern API. It's called Vroom under the, I don't know if we say about it publicly or not, but it's the new unified Microsoft Graph API. And it automatically trims things out. I'm trying to remember the exact rules. I think it trims things out that are hidden by default, but you can pass in a flag to show them, but it will never show things marked as system. So when you're creating libraries, you can play with those flags, and site assets, I think, is marked as system.
I will give it a try. Thanks a lot for that.
Yep.
And the last thing, just a hint for that, is we're always showing the people also the circle, the inner and outer circle that you also shown on the PowerPoint before.
Yep.
The thing is with SharePoint is sometimes confusing because we are building up project SharePoint sites and as well intranet SharePoint sites. Because intranet is a complete wider audience and it's always falling underneath, well, just a small group. Maybe just for the circle, it may be best to mix this up a little bit, to have intranet and collaboration SharePoint sites in place in 2 different parts.
Yeah, and you're right. And there's actually a bunch that you can do, right? So you can go to a intranet site that's public to the whole company and choose to embed a private team file, a private personal file, or a channel file on that site. You can use links to make sure that one file shows up. We chose not to get into that next level of detail there, but I hear your feedback.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. We'll go one more and then back here.
We are in the process of moving things into our intranet SharePoint cloud.
Yep, you got your bags.
We have our bags.
Throw them into the cloud.
Yes, and now we have some entrepreneurial people in the company that already created teams, groups. How can we manage those, and how can we integrate those into the SharePoint team sites? Is there a process to mix these two have the same name? Can we create a SharePoint team site with the same name first?
So every team that someone creates in Microsoft Teams has a SharePoint site with the same name. It's already there under the covers, ready and waiting. And in fact, when you go over to Teams, we have it there, right? So, no, this is assuming it's all in the same tenant. But so if we go over to whatever, we go over to Sales here. Every one of these actually has a link that says Open in SharePoint. And so you can see this one is called Sales. When I open in SharePoint, it takes me right over here to Sales. I have a team that someone called, I don't know, Leadership Connection. When I go over here to General, I have no idea what we're going to see. But when I go Open in SharePoint, you'll see again, oh, someone deleted it, in fact. That's a mess up. That's what I get for adventures in demo tenant.
That what you get, and that was my second question.
But to just kind of hit a couple things, when you go to create a team in Microsoft Teams, you will, of course, get the Teams UI for that team and the channels that you can add. But by default, that Files tab is a document library, the default documents in the SharePoint team site. So even if, again, you don't go to SharePoint at all, if you do anything in that Files tab, you're putting a file in SharePoint. You're putting a file in that Teams team site, that document library, which is just the Files tab. Anything you do beyond that, like you saw Jeremy successfully do once and fail once, no, I'm just kidding, then you might be doing a lot more in the team site, but they are already connected, no matter what. Whether I created the group through Office, through Outlook, through Teams, on the SharePoint home, wherever you go to create an Office 365 group that provisions multiple apps for that team and the list of people, that is all under the covers now based on what it is they're going to do with it. But the teams and team sites are already integrated right the second that you create a new team.
So our SharePoint person can expose that site and make it part of the entire collection?
Yes, that's right. You can connect it to a hub. You can promote it through links. You can do whatever you want to do.
Now, what happened with the rights of that site? Once created by a team and then deleted.
So let's see. Any site that is connected to a Office 365 group or a Microsoft team is bound by the life cycle of that group or that team. And
the other thing is it's a group object in Azure Active Directory. So if you were to delete, I think what people think of as the Office 365 group, it's an element in Azure. Or I think like you're asking, delete from SharePoint?
Let's say that the person leaves the company, the owner of that team group.
Yep.
Okay.
Leaves the company, and what happens after 30 days?
Yeah, so this is actually a great distinction between a personal space and a shared space. So in a personal space, when you're OneDrive, when the person leaves the company, you get that mail sent to the manager, the OneDrive's going to be deleted, you better figure out what to do with it, and eventually the personal space gets deleted. That does not happen with group shared libraries. So what happens is the group in Active Directory, the group has an owner and the group has members. And if some of the owners leave, it doesn't change the life cycle of the group. And you can always add in a different owner and the access will still be there. Now, if you choose to, you can also set life cycle on the group. And you can say, every year the owner has to click and say, I still use this group. Yeah. Or if you want, every 30 days the owner has to click and say, I still use this group. And then if the owner is gone, that mail will not go to anyone and the group will expire. So you get to have some choice about how you want that thing to behave.
Let's say,
can I set up an alert for that?
For the deletion or for
the case where the owner has left?
The owner is left, yes.
I am certain you could do something programmatically. I am through PowerShell. I don't believe we have a feature. I'm looking at Tejas, who knows this area.
So you could basically run a script that will see, if there was any changes of the group at the list of who, and if there are changes, you could get that results back so that you were aware of it. But I think one other scenario, if you think about it at a document level, let's say Jeremy and I are a part of a team and we've got an instance in Teams where we're working on files in that document library. I create the file, I am the original author. He already has access to edit it, view it, do whatever he needs to do. Now, I just took a new job. I don't really care about the files anymore or whatnot. So I walk over here and he goes, I don't want Mark muddling in on any of our stuff. So they take me out of the list of people who have access to that content, the team site, the files and whatnot. That doesn't mean that anybody else. So Jeremy, could you go and access that file still even though you've kicked me out?
Yep. It's all driven off that common group set of people. Yep.
Okay. All right. Great. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Good evening.
Hello.
Great job.
Thanks.
Great conference. Just a couple of quick things that I wanted to hit. One of them is resonating the gentleman that mentioned about the navigational audience targeting. That's one of the things, I can't even remember the number of projects that I have completed that has that element. That's custom built, obviously, but it's a big plus one from me and probably the audience.
Sure.
Second thing is, I wanted to quickly learn where will be the proper place to submit feedback about the usabilities. User voice is something we know, but you got to get quite a bit of plus one to get some visibility.
Yeah.
One example is some of the links that you're getting from the teams. If you right-click, get a link for a file, it is that big, 4 or 5. It doesn't look good, and you see a little bit confusing, so that's one thing. Second thing is, maybe this is more on the OneDrive side. If an employer and a subordinate leaves the company, the OneDrive transfers over to the manager, and then for 90 days, they can, access the files. This happened to me 5 times now, not to me, but 5 people that I know that with files on demand, they sync the library, they think that they have the file, and 180 days later, they want to go access it, but there's no site anymore because it's cleaned up. So from the last messaging perspective, again, maybe a usability thing, say that do not just sync it, sync it and move it, or something like that, just to clear the message.
Well, the nice thing is he's writing things down. That's part one. The other thing is beyond user voice, which is really a mechanism to say, yes, that's important. Somebody, or I want to put something in there and see how I can vote it up, because they do look at that. And there's just a ton of different channels. I think one of the most important one that's more dialogue driven, I have a question or I have a comment or you want to share something more broadly, there's the Microsoft Tech community, which by default you're now a part of because it was part of the auth, to get into the Ignite site. But if you go there are zones. I think there are about 72 product-driven areas, but some of them are topic areas as well, where both marketing and engineering and then just MVPs in the world are active in sharing information. If we have a blog, we put it there and it gets a lot of eyeballs. If people have questions on that particular blog, or if you just want to start a thread of your own, it's a great forum where you've got activity from people who care about a certain topic that you're asking about. And then some responsibility, obviously, to then reply and if you mention somebody that you know, or you just open it up to more general conversation, that's a great way to get answers. Oftentimes, half the time, it's already documented. Finding the documentation is sometimes the issue. But there are a lot of great helps and how-tos, a lot of great MVP guidance, a lot of the stuff that we put out we hope is helpful as well. And then in the product, too, there are things that they're doing to make so that the help information is right there. There's also a feedback button in the product, which gets the context of what you are doing and sends that, of course, to the engineering team. And they review that, I think, on a very consistent basis. And when it bubbles up and gets really noisy, which the value of them running the service, not shipping a product, is they fix it. They want to get things adjusted, or they want to know about it, and as it gets really noisy, put it on the roadmap. Maybe reprioritize based on what they're seeing. And some of that's based on just telemetry. How are people using the service? But when you want a voice or you want to get an answer, it's a good community and a great team with the product that leads sometimes where you can do it from.
Yeah, and we do. There's a certain threshold you have to hit in user voice for sure to get it to rise above, but it's actually been pretty successful. If you talk to folks on the OneDrive team in particular, as well as the Microsoft Teams folks, they've found it very useful because if you have something like, hey, managers are losing files because they haven't downloaded all the files, you'd be pretty surprised. You post something like that and 20, 30 people start liking it and upvoting it, it gets on our radar pretty quick.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I was wondering about performance, because many of my colleagues perceive Teams to be sort of heavier and slower than, say, Skype for Business, loading the app, loading wiki tabs and site tabs and things. What can we do, and what are you doing to remediate that?
We agree, and it is a top focus of our colleagues in Microsoft Teams. I am not aware of any best practices we can offer you on how to change that. I can tell you that it is a significant priority for the team to streamline the memory footprint, the loading time, and the overall responsiveness of the app.
That's great to hear. Thanks.
Yeah.
Hi, we love SharePoint and we love Teams for a long time.
I wish I had more to give out.
Yes, yes. We have a lot of customers who are using SharePoint for a long time, and they're using for their security Active Directory groups. And now they want, with students, they want to use Teams, but the problem is they cannot use the Active Directory groups. Is it scheduled, or is it on the roadmap?
If I was going to put it on that slide, I would put it in the top of mind bucket. We know that it is a very common requirement to say we'd like to express our group membership by using existing security groups, and we are actively designing a good solution for that. I don't have a time frame to commit to, but it is a in-progress project.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. Well, we're not going to kick you out, but if you have any other questions, comments, or just things that you wanted to stick around and share, we're certainly here for. We're going to break down so that the rest of the crew that's actually managing the whole event, I'm sure they want to start cracking things down.
Yeah, it's time to go.
Thank
you
for your
guys for a
time
great event.
Yeah, thank you for coming.